Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 70 of my modded Factorio playthrough. Enjoy. Now that we have our sulfur, we can make our sulfuric acid, but I believe we need to do some research for that. That's in sulfur processing, but first we need to do basic chemistry. Basic chemistry unlocks a couple of things. One thing that's interesting is that we could use purified water to create hydrogen and oxygen and not have to deal with slag, but the problem with that is it creates more hydrogen per unit of oxygen, so it's going to make our hydrogen problem worse, and we already have a lot of hydrogen, so in that sense we're probably not going to do this anytime soon. Also, if you so happen to have a lot of oxygen and hydrogen left over, you could turn it into purified water. Calcium chloride and also the chemical plant. Chemical plant definitely is going to come in handy, so let's just research that. It should go pretty quickly. See, we're already doing pretty good on sulfur. Got several stacks of it already. Alright. And then sulfur processing. There's essentially 3 steps to sulfur. The first is hydrogen sulfide gas, which is a byproduct that we don't deal with. And if we mix that with oxygen, we'll get sulfur. And then we take sulfur and mix that with oxygen to get sulfur dioxide gas. And then sulfur with purified water to get the sulfuric acid. So we don't need this first step, but we do need the second and third steps. Sulfur processing is finished. So first step is to make the sulfur dioxide gas, which can be made either in a chemical plant or an advanced chemical plant, both of which we can build. Advanced chemical plant here and regular chemical plant there. Now, the advanced chemical plant is faster and can produce more types of chemicals than the regular one. But it consumes more electricity for what it does, and it's also bigger. So under normal circumstances, we should use a chemical plant when possible. So basic chemical plant here. Access speed of 1.25. So the question is, how many of these do we want? Well, the only source of sulfur is going to be these machines right here. And I believe it was 4.5 of these machines in total we needed. So how much sulfur is that going to be? Well, they run at a crafting speed of 1. And every second they produce 1 sulfur. So we need to be able to process 4.5 sulfur at maximum speed. Let's see, 1 sulfur every 2 seconds times 1.25. So it produces or consumes 0.625. 4.5 divided by 0.625 is 7.2. So we need 8 of them in total. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see how to do this. Well, we're going to have an unloader right here. So it's going to be 1, 2, and then the line is going to go up here. Question is, what kind of setup are these going to be? Let's see, so it's the same product on the in and the out, which makes it simpler to do. I believe we can put one right there. Yeah. So 2, 2, 2, and then the 1. Make sulfur dioxide gas. And then put some stone pipes right here between these two. Connect them like this. And that's the oxygen. 1 sulfur every 2 seconds. So that should be fine for a regular inserter. Put a power pole between them all. And then the output also just done the same way. There we go. And then we need somewhere to store it all. And since the gas, we'll put it in the gas tank. Put it down right here. 1, 2, 3. Let's move this up by 1. So we can put this right there. Now, similarly to some of the other setups, like with purified water, with sulfur dioxide gas, we actually have an input of it, and we make sulfur dioxide gas in our production of lead. So we don't want to fill this tank up all the way, we only want to fill it up halfway. Just similarly to how we do the water and any of the other things we've done, like mineralized water over here. Let's run a signal wire over. Looks like it won't reach. So we need a pole for that. Oops, but I want them to be nice and symmetrical. The wire's coming down from the pole. There we go, and then the enabled condition is sulfur dioxide gas is less than what is half of 125,000 is 62,500. And these are all set to on. However, before we can run that stuff, we need to get the other sulfur dioxide gas we already have into that container. So I believe it would... the next available line is right here. Probably come in along the oxygen. Probably on the left, I guess. This one might just have to be a little sideways. There we go. Let's hook this up, and now we need to pump all of the resources out of the barrels back up into that tank. So what we do is just change this recipe. Sulfur. We do empty sulfur gas. Right. So let's put a pump right here. I think there's a pump in the truck, but the truck's really far away, so I'll just build another one. Put a stone pipe right there. Switch this around and say empty sulfur dioxide gas barrel. And there we go. Now this thing is going to slowly empty. Actually, since we're going to have a bunch of empty barrels, probably need to go get the truck anyway. Oh yeah, didn't we need to make a trip to get some Jivolite? Kind of recall needing to be able to do that, so let's do that while we're waiting. But the chemicals don't seem to be making their way to the tank. Ah. There we go. Now they're getting in there. Uh-oh, looks like we're out. Looks like we need to do some prospecting. I'm gonna do that in a little bit. I'll save that for later. I know I'm right here, but to fix the problem that I had with Prospector earlier, I'm gonna have to change some numbers around in the config file. So I want to be able to calculate those numbers first, and since I'm already here, I'll just save that for later. We should be okay though. It looks like we've got a lot of Jivolite. Well, yeah, a decent amount of Jivolite, so we should be okay for a time. Oh yeah, we got 2 green lights. We should be good for quite a bit. So how's this process going? It's not going that fast, which worries me. I wonder if it's because the pressure is getting lost on the pipe length because it's so long. Let's check it out. Yeah, it's running out. Let's boost it. Right here seems like a decent enough spot to do it. It's filling up pretty quick again. Okay. Now this thing's getting slowly emptied. Let's drop off the extra barrels that we have, so they can be sent back into the system. Excellent. Storage tank is empty. So you can see this thing is more than half full, so now these inserters don't even want to turn on anymore, so good thing we emptied it out first. The other half of this is oxygen. So we're producing oxygen all the way over here. And we can run a pipe down. There we go. They're going to turn on because they already had a little bit of stuff stuck inside of them. But now the question is, do we have enough oxygen production for all of this? Well, 8 of these requires 50 oxygen every 2 seconds times the speed of 1.25 times 8. So we're going to need 250 oxygen at most. Sounds like a lot. So one of these produces 30 oxygen every... Although, now that I think about it, we actually have other sources of oxygen needs on the factory. I believe it was 60 oxygen a second. So in total, that's 290 oxygen a second. So this produces 30 oxygen every 2 seconds times the speed of 1.5. So that's 22.5, which means we need 13 of them. Now, we could need a lot less of them if we were willing to use purified water, because the purified water recipe, I thought it was twice as fast. I guess it isn't, but you see, still the purified water recipe still uses, or still produces slightly more oxygen per second. But actually, this might be a use for some robots, because we need to repeat this quite a few times. Otherwise, we're going to use up all of our oxygen supply. How are we doing at that mineralized water? Yeah, it's actually almost completely full. How quickly that occurs. It's a minefield to get through here now. Look at all these pipes. At some point, we will go through here and try to clean this up a little bit, make the pipes look a little straighter, but right now there's kind of no point because we don't have plastic pipes yet, and they're shorter in length compared to the other types of pipes. So it's not really going to be possible to make them look clean until we have those pipes available. Might as well take all of these trees out of the way. Okay, so we have 4 of these now. Specifically, the repeating blueprint is this. There we go. Yep, so that's 5. Yeah, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. Let's see, we need all sorts of pipes and things, which I have. Let's throw all those in there. And 9 electrolyzers. Looks like I have 1, so 8 electrolyzers. And that's all I can make. Looks like we need stone pipes too. Conveniently, those stone pipes is something I actually have quite a few of. This is getting kind of annoying not being able to walk through here, so... If we put that in there, now we can. So there's the electrolyzers. And some stone pipes. And we just need to finish up with the belt. Yep, now we are completely full on oxygen gas. Looks like electricity is still doing well. That is a lot of oxygen. So the final step is turning that sulfur dioxide gas into sulfuric acid. Alright, so let's match it up with our production here. We are producing 8 factories worth of sulfur dioxide gas, which I believe it's the same amount. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, so previously we calculated 290. So now we need to be able to consume 290 sulfur dioxide gas and make sulfuric acid out of it. Let's see where to put this. Looks like there's 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. There we go. Now, unfortunately, these factories can't be placed right next to each other because they have 2 different types of input, so you have to space them apart. But it will consume 60 gas every 2 seconds times the speed of 1.25, so 37.5. So 290 divided by 37.5 is 7.7. So, in other words, 8. Just like this. And we're out of steel. Wonder if we need a signal light for sulfur dioxide gas. Yeah, potentially. Let's put that in there first. The signal light is going to be a needs to stay in the middle light, similar to this. So let's copy this one right here. Okay. So the logic is based on right here. So if it's less than 62,000, so let's say if it's less than 50,000, we have a problem. So if it's less than 50,000, sulfur dioxide gas, output a yellow light. Similarly, if it's more than, let's say, 75,000, then we have a problem. And let's say if it's pretty close to the top, so how about 110,000? Then we have a problem. Just didn't set that correctly. And if it's lower than about 15,000, and output a red light. Seems good. So we have a yellow warning light because it is above half, and that makes sense because we're not consuming any of it yet. Now we need our 8 chemical plants. Looks like I made 1 too many. So something like this, and we have to space them 1 space apart, unfortunately. And make sulfuric acid. Okay. Actually, let's make these too high. Luckily, we have lots of bricks. We can connect this here. Make this so we can walk through it. We're going to have to move this power pole 1 over. Reconnect to the logic. There we go. Everything's got what it needs. Now, the purified water. Purified water is another calculation we need to make. Right now we just have enough to do the coal processing. But we have 8 of these machines needing purified water. 40 water every 2 seconds times 1.25 times 8. So we need 200 purified water, which is exactly 2 more plants. And just the power. There we go. Seems like the water pipe is holding up so far. Guess we'll find out soon enough if it can't keep up. Alright, let's apply some power. Okay, now we need to get the purified water over here. It needs to be from right here, but this is kind of in the way. Gonna have to be creative about that. There we go. There we go. Purified water's in there. The last step to this is bundling it together or putting it inside at least a tank. So, can save some pipes and just connect these like this. And finally, a storage tank. Probably like right here. Connect a steel pipe. And then boom, everything starts running. We don't really need any logic control on this because we'd rather have this be as full as possible. Let's watch all this go down and see once the process hole starts in earnest, and then we can see if all of the logic is set up properly. There we go. That is now below half. So all these machines have to fire up. And it's going to go down slightly too fast because we have slightly too many machines, but it's pretty close. See, it's now slowly consuming our sulfur. So that's balanced. Are we keeping up with our water? Looks like it. Are we keeping up with oxygen? Looks like it. This pipe is good? Yep. What about electricity? It's also good. Excellent. I think the last thing we need is a little control light just to keep us appraised of how the sulfur is being stored. Let's see, we just want a basic storage indicator similar to oxygen, because we'd rather it be full as possible. I could put it over here, but that's kind of in the way of the road. So I'm thinking I'm going to put it up top. Okay. Connect the sensor. What are the amounts? Sulfuric acid, if it's less than 20,000, turn on a red light. If it's less than 40,000, turn on the yellow. If it's more than 40,000, give us a green. And if it's more than 60,000, give us 2 greens. Excellent. Let's see how quickly that's filling up. So there we go. That took quite a while, and it always does in Factorio. So all of this essentially was required to finally get us to this one container right here of sulfuric acid. And if we go back to looking at batteries, see that is, now we have 2 of the 3 things we need for batteries. Now the last step is making plastic. But that's all the time we have for today, so I'll see you at the next episode. Thanks for watching.